Ladies and gentlemen, today, I invite you to listen with your heart wide open, not just your ears, because what I'm about to share with you, not that theory, not fantasy, not myth, but a deep, spiritual truth disguised in the ordinary moments of your life. There are times in life when everything feels quiet, not just quiet in the world, but quiet in your spirit. You begin to feel disconnected from the things that used to light you up. Maybe your passion fades, your friends grow distant, or your job feels hollow. And that's when most people panic. But let me tell you something powerful. That emptiness is not a void. It's a clearing. It's the silent construction zone where God is preparing to build something greater than you've ever imagined. When your soul gets stripped of all the noise, it finally has space to hear divine direction. So if you're walking through a season of silence, don't fear it. God may be getting ready to change your life forever. Now consider the people suddenly walking out of your life. Friends you thought were forever suddenly vanish. Relationships that once brought you warmth now leave you cold. You're tempted to chase them to fix what's breaking, but hear me, this is not rejection, it's redirection. Sometimes God removes people not to punish you, but to make space for those who elevate your calling. You see, the people who got you here may not be the ones to take you there. And when you stop clinging to who walked away, you start to see who's walking toward you. Then, just when you think you're stuck, life starts throwing you challenges from every angle. Doors slam shut, money gets tight, nothing gets tight, nothing goes as planned. You start wondering if you're cursed, if the heavens have forgotten your name. But it's in this pressure, this holy tension, that your character is being carved to fit the blessing that's on its way. God never promotes without preparation, and He never prepares without pressure. What feels like delay is often design. You're not being buried, you're being planted. These signs are subtle. They won't scream, they whisper. But to those tuned in, and to those willing to trust the unseen, even when the scene is breaking apart, these signs speak loud and clear. And when they do, you'll know that change isn't just coming. It's already here. You might find yourself waking up in the middle of the night, heart racing, mind swirling with ideas or questions you can't shake. It's as if something or someone is nudging you, whispering, "There's more." And that voice doesn't come from anxiety or fear. It comes from something deeper, something ancient, something divine. When your rest is interrupted not by restlessness, but by revelation, that's not coincidence. That's a signal, a spiritual activation. Your intuition begins to sharpen. You start noticing things you'd never seen before, signs, patterns, messages tucked into the everyday. That's how God speaks sometimes, through a feeling, a flicker, a flash of knowing. And if you're paying attention, you'll realize it's not your imagination, it's your preparation. Opportunities begin showing up in strange clothing. They might look like hard decisions, uncomfortable moves, or even failure. But if you look closer, buried within those trials are keys. Keys to doors you didn't even know existed. It's in these moments that you are being asked not to shrink back into who you were, but to stretch forward into who you're becoming. Growth never feels graceful. It pulls, it aches, it demands. And yet that very discomfort is the proof that transformation is in progress. You're not losing your mind, you're shedding your limits, and sometimes it's the inner shift that catches you off guard. Your desires start changing. What used to excite you now feels empty. The goals you once chased begin to feel like cages. You may not understand why, but something in you craves more meaning, more alignment, more truth. That's not confusion, that's calibration. Your spirit is being tuned to a higher frequency. What you're feeling is the tension between who you've been and who you're called to be. And that tension, that sacred ground, that's the edge of breakthrough. You begin to feel drawn to solitude, not isolation, but intentional stillness. Crowds no longer feed you the way they once did. Noise becomes draining. You start craving silence, nature, reflection. And in that quiet, you begin to hear something clearer than ever before, your soul's blueprint. You start to sense that you're being summoned, not just to survive, but to step into something, a deeper purpose, a calling you may have pushed aside for years. And though it scares you, it also excites you in a way nothing else ever has. That tension between fear and fire. How you know the shift is real, that's how you know God is near. Even your environment begins to shift. You notice patterns collapsing, cycles breaking. Maybe the job falls apart, or the plan fails, or the thing you were sure of crumbles in your hands. And it feels unfair at first, like betrayal. But that's how divine intervention often looks. It doesn't always arrive as a miracle wrapped in gold light. Sometimes it looks like disruption, because what's breaking down is not your life, it's the illusion of control. What's collapsing isn't your foundation. It's the box you built around your potential. That's not chaos. That's course correction. You may even start hearing a strange phrase come out of your mouth. I don't know why, but I just know something's about to change. You can't explain it. You can't prove it, but your spirit knows. And when you feel that quiet conviction rising for no logical reason, trust it. That's your inner compass realigning. That's divine timing ticking louder. That's your next season brushing up against your current one, waiting for you to say yes. You'll start noticing that the things which used to demand your energy no longer deserve it. The drama, the distractions, the need to prove or perform, it all starts to fade like background noise. What once felt urgent now feels irrelevant. That's not detachment. That's discernment. Your spirit is maturing. You no longer chase approval because you've begun to understand your assignment. And as your focus sharpens, doors that were once invisible begin to appear. Not because they weren't there, but because you're finally seeing with the eyes of alignment instead of anxiety. Even your emotions start behaving differently. Where you once reacted with frustration, you now pause with awareness. The same storm that used to shake you doesn't hit the same anymore. That's not numbness, it's strength. You're not becoming harder, you're becoming wiser. There's a deep calm starting to move through you, the kind that doesn't come from the absence of storms, but from knowing who walks with you through them. And that calm becomes your compass. It doesn't shout, it doesn't rush, it simply knows. And as this transformation unfolds, your hunger shifts. You're no longer satisfied by surface-level wins. You crave depth. You want your work to matter, your time to count, your relationships to reflect your values. You begin to walk differently, not with arrogance, but with authority. You realize that you are not just passing through life, you are being positioned. Not everyone will understand this new version of you. Some will question it, some will resist it. But you're not here for everyone. You're here for the ones who are waiting on what you've been called to bring on. You begin to speak differently, not out of rehearsal, but from revelation. Your words carry weight, not just because they're eloquent, but because they're true. They're coming from a place deeper than intellect, deeper than emotion. They're coming from experience, from surrender, from the lessons life carved into your soul. And when you speak now, it's not to impress, it's to impact. You notice how people pause, how they lean in, how they feel what you're saying even before they fully understand it. That's not charisma, that's clarity. The kind that comes only when your spirit has been refined by fire. You start letting go of timelines too. The rush to reach, to win, to arrive, it no longer controls you. Because you've begun to understand that purpose isn't a destination, it's a direction. And you're finally walking in it, even if the road is unfamiliar. You don't need to know the full map anymore. You just need to trust the next step. That kind of trust doesn't come easy. It's born from the moments where all you had was faith. And somehow that was enough. You're no longer trying to force open doors. You're waiting for the right ones to swing wide at the right time. And in that waiting, you're being built into the person who won't just walk through the door. You'll own the room on the other side. People around you will notice, even if they can't name it. They'll say things like, you've changed, or you feel different. And they're right, because you are. You're not shrinking to fit into places that couldn't hold you. You're not lowering your light for anyone else's comfort. You're walking with the quiet confidence of someone who's been touched by something eternal. And while they may not understand the process, they'll feel the power. They'll see the shift. Then the synchronicities start stacking small, uncanny alignments that feel too precise to be random. A book lands in your hands with the exact words you needed. A stranger says something that mirrors the thought that's been echoing in your chest. An opportunity arrives wrapped in perfect timing, even though by every logical measure, it shouldn't have. These moments are not accidents. They're confirmations. God doesn't always announce his plans with thunder and lightning. Sometimes he moves through subtle patterns, soft nudges, and perfectly placed pieces falling into alignment when you least expect it. And when they do, you don't feel surprised. You feel remembered. Old habits begin to lose their grip, not because you forced yourself to change, but because you simply outgrew them. The taste of old comforts becomes bitter. The patterns that once kept you numb now feel like cages. It's not discipline alone that drives you. It's desire for something more. Something real. You begin to crave integrity, not because it's expected, but because it's who you're becoming. And that internal shift starts to change everything around you. How you move, how you speak, how you see. You no longer ask for a lighter load. You ask for stronger shoulders. You're no longer afraid of the mountain, because now you know you were built to climb. There's a sacred kind of confidence rising in you, one that doesn't shout but settles. You're not looking for validation anymore. You're looking for alignment. You're not worried about how things appear. You care about how they feel in your soul. This kind of clarity can't be taught, only earned. And the price is always the same. Letting go of what no longer serves you, even when it's comfortable, even when it's familiar. Especially when it's familiar. Because what's coming is bigger than what's been. And the version of you that's required for what's next cannot be built on the scaffolding of who you used to be. So if you find yourself in the middle of uncertainty, discomfort, or unexpected shifts, don't shrink, don't run, don't numb it. Stand still, pay attention. Because what feels like your life unraveling may actually be your life unfolding. You are not being punished, you are being positioned. The silence, the loss, the stirring in your soul, it's all a signal. God is not finished with you. In fact, he's just getting started. And when the change comes, it won't be small. It won't be safe. It won't be something you can explain. It will be something you become. A turning point, a divine interruption, a moment that marks everything before and everything after. And when that moment arrives, may you be bold enough to recognize it and brave enough to rise.